In the meantime, we have Tal Heinrich with us, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spokesperson, journalist as well. Tal, always good to have you back. Let me get your sense of this hostage meeting at the White House. Some of these families are concerned that there's no chance for a pause, certainly less of one for a ceasefire in general, so that their loved ones are in extreme danger. What do you think?
Thank you for having me on, Neil. I'm actually speaking to you from Lower Manhattan, where an event with some families of hostages is about to begin. Some siblings of the hostages are here to speak, and Mayor Adams will also be here. You see, we know that Hamas only responds to pressure. President Biden also stated it, and he said it correctly. The reason why we're operating in Gaza right now, as we said, we have a twofold mission. We want to bring back all the hostages home and to eliminate the Hamas regime. Now, these two missions, they go hand in hand. It's not contradictory. Hamas only responds to pressure. The reason why they released some of the hostages so far is because we're hitting them hard and they wanted a breather. So we will continue to do it. And in every minute, in every moment of our operation in Gaza, the plight of the hostages is definitely top of mind.
So where does this stand right now? Forget just the hostages themselves, but the escalating, back and forth here, and now the world piling on Israel, that your response is disproportionate, even cruel. How do you deal with that?
You see, Neil, this is a time for moral clarity. Our leadership has said it. The White House also stated it correctly, because the world is looking at Israel. President Biden just said it yesterday, if I believe. And terrorists around the world, bad actors, bad players are looking at Israel. If we don't send an unequivocal message right now against terrorism, well, that's an invitation for more trouble. And let me tell you this, not only more trouble and more bloodshed in our part of the world, but also in other different parts of the world. It doesn't stop there. So we need to send a very unequivocal message to Hamas and send this message that terrorism is simply a dead end. And the calls for a ceasefire are simply ridiculous, because that would mean the terrorists can get away with what they did on October 7th and that they can stay in power with impunity.
Do you feel the pressure, though, Paul, when even the Biden administration argues that Israel could be losing global support? Isn't that, careful phrasing, losing his support?
You see, there's no daylight between Washington and Jerusalem in what pertains to the goals of this war. And we talked about this before. We all want to see the hostages back. We want to see the Hamas terrorist regime out of power with no grip on a territory, just like was the case, by the way, with ISIS in Mosul and Raqqa. We're following in the footsteps of the international coalition to defeat ISIS. We're following the scheme, and we're actually doing a very good job. The IDF is going to such extents that no other Western military has done before in what pertains to safeguarding the civilian population in an enemy zone. And everyone of good conscience should be aware of this right now. No, Israel is not firing indiscriminately in Gaza. That is utterly false. And I think that if that would have been the case, you and I maybe would not have been having this conversation right now, because the war might have ended much sooner.
Real quickly, there's talk that, life after this war, hard to imagine how soon this could end, but hopefully soon. Benjamin Netanyahu wants a key role and a presence in that region, maybe for quite some time. The message from the White House and others is no. What do you read into that?
I'm sorry, but I didn't get your question because there's a bit of noise here. Can you repeat, Neil? Real
quickly, this idea that Israel wants a role in whatever is the post-war life in Gaza. Others, including those of the White House, are saying not so fast. What do you think?
If I'm getting it correctly, well, we said very clearly that we want to see Hamas out of power and that Gaza has to be demilitarized, because we don't want to see a resurgence of terrorism after Hamas is eliminated. And on the longer term, we want to see Gaza and the Palestinian society being de-radicalized, because, there can not be a solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict as long as large segments of the Palestinian population believe that they are so-called refugees of wars that they themselves started, and until the state of Israel will cease to exist. If we want a better hope for this future, something major has to change.
Got it. Tal Heinrich, thank you very much. I apologize. You're competing with all that noise, understandable.